Hi guys! So we're going to be talking about H5P today, and my group is Sanjana, Jessica, and myself. So H5P is an open source project that's available for everyone and it's also free. So you can access it through the website, either h5p.org, or there's also a Moodle plugin which is what we're talking about here, that is available to us. So for this program, there's various interactive activities available. There's interactive videos, interactive presentations, there are quizzes, flashcards, and there's many, many more. So this program allows for learning and practice opportunities that are usually maybe not available to everyone. Teachers can also use it to help students learn English as a second language or maybe even French as a second language. It really is a flexible program for any kind of language learning. H5P is a community-driven project. The main contributor is a company that's called Jubel that is in Norway. The first H5P prototype is released in 2013 for Drupal, a free and open source content management framework. The first stable release was on May 15, 2014 for WordPress. The core team established on August 1, 2014. And the first stable version for Moodle was released on March 14, 2017.
So I'll now go over how you can use H5P, more specifically with Moodle. So you have to already have a Moodle. Then you go to the Moodle's plugin page, and you look for interactive content H5P. Once you've found it, you'll have a page that looks like this. Click on the green download button. Once you will download a zip folder. Then you go back to your Moodle and you click on Site Administration, Plugins, then Install Plugins. This is from your homepage, your Moodle homepage. And it will open this page. From here, click Choose a File, and you can browse your computer for the zip folder you just downloaded, add it, and then click Install Plugin from the zip file. And then just go through the installation process, click Continue everywhere, upgrade Moodle database now when you reach the plugins check. And at some point, you'll reach the Moodle setting page. Just keep the default settings and continue. Then you go to the course you would like to add H5P content on, click Turn Editing On, and then go to the topic you want to add the activity to, click on Add an Activity or Resource. It'll open this menu, and you can click on Interactive H5P Interactive Content and click Add, and it'll open this page. Over here, you can add the name of the activity and change the settings. But to add the H5P activity itself, you go over here to Editor, where it says H5P Select Content Type, and you'll open the drop-down menu. It will lead to a menu that looks like this with different activities. You can explore through them. When you click on one, it'll show you what the activity is like. So it'll give a short description, and you'll have screenshots of the activity. If you click on content demo, you'll get a better idea of what the activity is for, like the students, and you can try it out over here. So then you chose image sequencing, for example. You scroll down, you click install. You only have to install it once. And it's pretty quick. Once you have successfully installed, click use, and it'll open a page like this. Depending on the activity, this will be different. This is to help you set up the activity. So you add the images, the description, just follow the instructions over here. And once you're done setting up the activity, click Save and Display, and it will lead you to the activity you've just built, and you can try it out to see if it's how you would have liked it to be. As you saw earlier, there's lots of different types of activity. So here are some examples with what the page to build them looks like.
So now we will look at how to use the H5P in an L2 learning environment. So the first activity we came up with is for students of all ages, and it can be adapted according to their level. So this activity consists of learning concrete vocabulary, such as, for example, objects in a room. This is to be used when introducing vocabulary. So the H5P program that we chose is called the image hotspots. So the hotspots can be added to various objects in a picture. So for example, a chair, table, a lamp, anything in the room. So a pop-up will appear when you click on the hotspot, and in the pop-up you can either add the object's name, info about the object, even examples in a sentence if you want, or you can add all of them if you want to. There's also the option to add a video about the object, such as the types of the same object, the object in use, etc. According to Chappell and Jameson, the interaction with the computer for vocabulary learning occurs when learners request a definition of a word in context.
And here is a visual example of activity 1.
So a second activity you can do using H5P content is a story activity. Is an activity after which goes after a story. This activity can be for beginner or intermediate learners of all ages. You'll just have to adapt the story accordingly. So basically, you use H5P activity image sequencing after the students have read or listened to a story, or have watched a movie. It has to be something that all the students have done, so that you're not creating a whole bunch of different activities. And then they have using H5P, they'll be placing the events of the story in the correct order, and then they'll get feedback on whether their order was correct. So, according to Chappell and Jamieson, it is important to assess comprehension of a reading through some kind of evaluation, which they get immediate feedback for. And this is what the activity helps to do. It makes sure the students have know all the events in the story and in what order they go, so that they have a general understanding of the story.
So the third activity we chose for learners is an activity that can be adapted in many ways, really depending on the population of the learners. So depending on their age and depending on the level of the learners, and also the context that is being introduced, depending like what kind of vocabulary the lesson is looking at, it can be adapted to almost any lesson really. This is a vocabulary practice game, and it is an H5P memory game. So the activity that we chose is image pairing. Image pairing basically, so what the students are expected to do is to pair an image with the correct text, so the correct vocabulary. So students must make a connection between their understanding of what the image represents to the proper vocabulary they have been introduced to in the lesson. So according to Yoshi and Flates, research suggests that the more type of helps that students use, for example verbal help and imagery rather than only verbal help alone, will help better the vocabulary acquisitions of students. So this is really present in the activity that we have chosen in image pairing, because students already will be exposed to the verbal help by learning the context of the vocabulary and also having to pair it with the imagery that represents it. So having better context and better visual aid to fully acquire the meaning of what they are. So to conclude with using H5P, this is really something that is easy to use in classrooms, but it does require a bit of time for exploring the different means to use it and how exactly a teacher would like to incorporate this for learners. So that in itself could be a little time consuming and could be an issue depending on the teacher. It is much more entertaining. The activity proposed, they're very, very interesting and engaging for students, and more fun per se. It makes the learners experience a lot of entertaining activities while they're learning, and they are really purposeful. Like we mentioned before, all these activities can really be adapted in some ways, some more than others. They can be adapted to the learners' ages and to the learners' learning levels. So that is a big benefit across the board for teachers, because it'll apply to so many different types of language learning. Every type of activity that we've mentioned is really promoting individual learning for the students. So to allow them to learn through an activity on their own is really, really helpful, especially using this H5P. It can complement external activities, and also unfamiliar users might need teacher guidance for some activities, some interactive activities, so that is something for teachers really to consider when presenting these kinds of activities to their students. Another issue is that the grades are not registered using H5P. It's great for teaching and for practice, however, it might be hard for assessment, as that is not part of H5P, the grading. So Overall, it increases efficiency through the use of the technology, which is a great factor, and also the computer is a social actor, so that is to be considered. According to Fogg, 2003, the goal of computing product is to make activities easier or more efficient to do. Also, according to Fogg, computers can influence and motivate people. Thank you for listening to our presentation about H5P.